The second biggest cost in most veterinary practices is frequently described, at least by accountants, as COGS, the cost of goods sold. Most of your practice income is derived from the delivery of professional services, of course, but if 30% or more comes from selling products, you would imagine that one really important practice management role would be to find out the separate contribution to the profitability of the whole business made by selling products on the one hand and services on the other. That wouldn't seem to be too much of a challenge. We just need to know the share of income generated by selling stuff, how much we paid for it, and then make some assumptions about the appropriate share of the staff and overhead costs involved in all that buying and selling. There are, however, two big problems to sort out. The first is that for many practices, the cost of goods sold identified in the profit and loss account includes the cost of pharmaceuticals, animal foods and other products, and the cost of consumables not directly sold to clients, but used in delivering a whole range of medical, surgical and diagnostic services. The second problem is to work out how much of the practice income comes from selling or using all those products. Practice management software should be able to identify revenue from selling pharmaceuticals, foods and other over-the-counter items, but many products and consumables aren't sold as separate items, but are used in delivering diagnostic, medical and surgical services. In a recent newsletter, Tom Catanzaro asks, in what other industry would you combine pharmacy lines with a 1.2 times markup with retail items like foods and with surgical and medical consumables all together as one significant KPI? Tom is right, it simply doesn't make much sense. Take a look at Tom's website. You'll be glad that you did. Here's the link. So here are my suggestions. First, you need to understand what cost items are included in the cost of drugs and supplies in your practice accounts. Then, with or without the help of your accountant, separate out the cost of the pharmaceuticals dispensed and the revenue generated by selling them. Then identify the costs of non-pharma products, foods, toys, and all those other retail items, and the income generated by selling them. Then identify the costs of all the injectables, vaccines, and medical consumables, and simply include them as a specific overhead cost of delivering professional services. That way, it's a relatively simple task to do the sums and find out the separate contribution to the profitability of the whole business made by selling products on the one hand and services on the other. I don't know your practice, but I wouldn't mind betting that you'll discover that the profit margin you achieve by selling products is much less healthy than you might imagine, and that the profit generated from delivering professional services is likely to be in low single figures at best, and that's much less than you and your team deserve. See you next time.